Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business. Mike King is in the business, man.
Mike King says,
all I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind.
You didn't know you was going to a party.
I did not know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
I'm
happy to be here.
I know they should have told you. See, you came with some help. He don't even want to give. He can't get no smaller in the corner than that. He's too big to hide.
Right.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mic of Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with us. So the views expressed here of mine have no connection to, support, of agreement with any other host information I have on the station. I don't work for the station. Our program just airs here on a daily basis. So join me as our cutting edge show. We uplift the community, showcase RVA in a different way. You know what time it is. It is our good friends of Poplar Springs. Cool people know cool people. All right, so Poplar Springs, they say, there's a group out there, Epic Health Partners. Mike, you got to talk to them. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
All righty, so tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Chanel Beard. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I work for Epic Health Partners as the Senior Director of Strategic Initiatives. A whole lot of words.
That's
a whole lot of words just to say I help them create programs, evaluate our processes, just to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the people we serve.
Were you always that kid growing up with the caretaker?
Yes, very much.
I don't know why it took you that long.
I was like, how you know?
Well, you were always so. All right, so I ask people who come in here, how are people doing out there these days? Are people doing better? You know, when somebody take that big breath, they're like, "Ooh, Lord, Mike."
You know, it depends on who you ask. I think COVID took a toll on everybody, and people are really trying to just regroup and get their footing. From a mental health, we're a behavioral health, mental health agency. So from a mental health standpoint, we see people struggling every day with various issues, particularly in the city of Richmond. We know homelessness is a major problem here. So that's a lot of the population that we see, the significant issues that they have. So I think people are doing the best they can.
How about your Epic? What part do you guys play?
Epic does a little bit of everything. So we try to really meet the needs of the people that we service. We are primarily funded by Medicaid. Okay. So we tap into that population, that demographic. We address the mental health needs of the people here. We try to meet, connect them with resources, housing resources, financial resources. We can't directly give them those things, but we know people. Like you said,
good people. There is a value with knowing people.
Yes, it is. So we just try to connect people to meet those needs that they have.
And where are you guys located?
We're located at 10 East Lee Street in the Jackson Ward area.
How do people engage you? How do people get started with you?
Gotcha. So they can call us. Call us directly. We get a lot of referrals from, like you mentioned, Poplar Springs, Tucker's Pavilion, a lot of the hospitals, the CSBs. We work very closely with RVA Light downtown. We work with Commonwealth Catholic Charity. So those are just some agencies that can feed into us. But people can call us directly. They can walk into our door. We have immediate access to services. So if you walk in looking for help, we're going to meet you.
Help is going to be there.
The help is there.
What kind of toll did it take on the staff there? Because I know, caregivers, a lot of times you guys see some stuff. And I always ask the caregivers who come, who takes care of the caregivers?
Right.
Because you guys won't stop.
We don't stop.
No, you don't.
We don't stop. And burnout is real.
Yeah,
and we, as a supervisor, so I supervise people who are trying to get licensed. And then our supervisors, our clinical supervisors supervise the staff that actually work out in the field. Okay. So we try to take care of each other there. We preach self-care. We absolutely preach it. But it does take a toll on the staff because there are a lot of people that they may have needs that we can't immediately address. I don't have millions of dollars to put people in homes and things of that nature. So it does take a lot, on you when you're trying to meet needs and you can't.
When you, as a training someone, What are the signs that you see when you start to see some burnout, or maybe that person needs to take a minute?
They are, what I see specifically in the staff that I supervise is they're not showing up the way that they normally do. So you have somebody who's normally talkative, they're a little more reserved. People who normally get things done on time are now late. They're not showing up. They're not responding, things like that. Or you just have to kind of be tapped in to know like, hey, that was a really heavy case you just worked with. Take a step back, let's kind of process it. So we try to, as a supervisor, it's my role to play teacher, counselor, and then like you said, caretaker or caregiver. Like I have to look out for the people that I supervise.
How can people find you guys out there?
They can go on our website. So www.epichealthpartners.com. Like I said, they can give us a call. They can come to 10 East Lee Street. If somebody knows anybody that's not in the Richmond area, but they may be near Danville, Virginia, or Martinsville, Virginia, we also have offices in those locations as well. But yeah, if you Google Epic Health Partners, we'll pop up.
What are you starting to see? I guess the big problems that you're seeing now that people are dealing with, that as we came out of COVID.
Grief from losing people. Yeah, losing people from COVID or during that time. A lot of people were displaced during that time. So they were doing all that assistance during COVID. So people weren't having to pay bills and things like that. And now it's time to do it. And they're unable to meet the demands of whatever it is. So they're being displaced. We also see a lot of unattended to or unmedicated, like what we call SMI or severe mental illness. So you have bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, things of that nature, where people just haven't been getting help or they haven't been seeking help. And now something is taking place and somebody is telling them you need help now.
Which ages do you guys handle?
So we can service anywhere from the age of, I would say the youngest is probably about 4 or 5. All the way up until
whenever.
Yeah.
What is, as a person, what are some of the things I need to look out for as a family member, as a friend, somebody's going through some things?
The first thing is changes in behavior. So like I said, even with the staff. So somebody normally is talkative, they're not doing it anymore. Or people, some bizarre behavior. So when we look at, what specific diagnosis, somebody who maybe was more careful before, now they're kind of like impulsive and risky. So any kind of change in behavior, somebody becomes withdrawn, they're missing things that they normally wouldn't miss. Like let's say if they normally show up for all their kids' football games. And then you notice like, hey, I haven't seen such and such at the football game in the last 2 to 3 days or 2 to 3 times or whatever. So any of those key changes in behavior.
All right, when you came on, I asked you, were you that kid, the caretaker? What was the path to doing that as a kid to go that's your life's profession?
Good question.
I got one per show.
Good question. So to tell you a little bit about me, my passion is substance abuse treatment. I have a father who deals with addiction. So being a child of a parent with an addiction was difficult, right? And I wanted to help and I didn't know how. So I just said, when I grow up, I'm going to figure out how to help people like my dad. And then you also notice, like for me, I'm the one, all my friends come to me when they have a problem. They want to talk about something. They trust me with their secrets. And you just kind of, I got purpose and kind of passion out of that. But like I said, my dad was my primary motivator.
When people come to you and they give you their stuff, how do you work it so that their stuff doesn't stick to you? That you can just give them the help.
Yeah.
And their burden does become your burden, because that's like piling on in football. You know, a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah.
How do you work with that? And what advice can you give to others?
Right. So I am a therapist who seeks therapy, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before.
So definitely, I have to have my people that I can go to and talk to as well. And then just in some ways in this profession, particularly, you have to compartmentalize. You have to be able to say, this is Mike's stuff, this is my stuff, and you have to find that line of where does my help start, but where does my help stop?
I've had other people in here. Some people, they said they understood that. Well, when did you learn it? Some people were like early. Some people are later.
Yeah.
And I've had other ones that people are like, I'm not very good at that. Their problems become something that I kind of have to work on, not having it turn into my thing.
Right. And it's a lot of trial and error. I'll say I have not mastered it 100%. It's a lot of trial and error. But I think when you get to the place, like we talked about burnout, when you get to that place where you're staying up at night thinking about, well, I wonder how that person is doing. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder if they solve that. I wonder, you kind of have to take a step back and say, okay, let me find a way to just kind of unload. So journaling is very important. Anything that kind of gets it off your mind. So whatever that routine
always a
looks
journaler?
like. I have been.
Okay, now do you go back and read the stuff, or when you put it down on paper, you leave it there?
Sometimes it depends. So sometimes I'll go back and read it. Sometimes I'll throw it away because it's kind of like, hey, it's on paper. I need it out of my head and I want to be done with it. The stuff that I kind of want to reflect on, I'll go back to it. But things that I need to get it out of here, out of my mind and be over it, then I'll discard it.
Sometimes you look at that and say, "Ooh, Lord."
I know. What was I dealing with back then? Exactly. Yeah, you do. And but those are, you kind of look back and say, wow, I got through that, or I helped somebody else get through that. And then it kind of gives you motivation to just pick it up and keep going.
Did you go to school for social work, or?
I went to school for counseling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you went there, you knew what you were going for?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
What school did you go to?
I went to the University of Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you go to UVA for?
I went to UVA.
That you started, you were going to do. That was going to be your life work. What did you do?
Pre-med biology. I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Okay. At what point over there in Charlottesville did you realize you didn't want to do that anymore? You wanted to change the world?
It was probably after my first year, my first semester of my first year.
It didn't take long.
No, and listen, to be honest with you, I took chemistry, biology, and calculus. And I was like, if I got to keep doing this ain't for me, no. But I actually worked for a social services agency at an internship that worked with underserved and underprivileged children.
Did that change?
It did. It kind of opened my mind to a different side of helping. Like, I don't have to be a doctor. There are other ways I can help, coupled with my life experience as well.
When you work with somebody and you see the light comes on, they get it.
Yeah.
Because you go through a lot of times that people don't get it.
Nope.
They don't get it. And you go into the next one, on to the next one. But you hit that one and all of a sudden they get it.
Yeah.
What's that feel like?
A little slice of heaven. And I tell people, I supervise people I work with, we can't save everybody. But with everybody we encounter, we plant a seed. So as long as I know I'm planting a seed, and out of the 100 people I service, I might see some sprout in one, but that one was worth the other 99.
Because you don't know that other one sprouted down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
But you weren't there.
Right.
Because I always talk about, you impact somebody's life on a regular day. It's just a regular day for you, but you just change the course of your life. When people look at you and they hear what you do, what's the look on their face? Like, wow.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
You do that?
You do that because you know there's a population that needs that help. Other people know everybody can't do it.
Yeah.
But on a regular day, you're just talking and all of a sudden you just change the course of how somebody sees things. Yeah. Alrighty. It is what day is it?
World Mental Health Day.
Okay. And that is, what's the purpose? I don't want to ask you what the purpose of that is.
I didn't create it.
Yeah, I know. Let me think of it today. But it's important.
Yeah. I would say, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I would say it's to spotlight the importance of mental health. Mental health is just as significant as physical health. The same way that people go to their primary care doctor every 3 months, every 6 months, every month, whatever, they also need to be going to someone to provide attention and a tune-up to their mental.
We didn't always think like that.
At all. It's so stigmatized.
Yes,
mental health is so stigmatized.
And especially with men. Because I always say, you ask a guy how he's doing, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
The wheels are falling off.
Yes.
He ain't even on 4 wheels no more. He on 3 and don't realize one fell off 2 miles back.
2 miles, yeah, you're right.
But all of a sudden, has the pandemic in this time really helped us? Look at things a little bit better. Like, we don't stigmatize mental health as much now.
Right. I don't know if it was the pandemic as much, but I think the current generation takes a different approach
Younger people believe
younger
it.
people take a different approach to mental health. They advocate for going to therapy, talk, I've seen so many like brother circles and podcasts and things like that, where men in particular are opening up about suicidal thoughts or suicide attempts and things like that. So I think the younger generation is creating a safe space for us to talk about it.
The younger people out there, they have made a difference because there was a stigma that we always looked at. The world, back in, I hate to be like the old man, but back in the day, when you couldn't handle it mentally, you went home.
Yeah.
The world kept going.
Yep.
And they look at Mike wasn't strong enough mentally to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world got sent home.
Yeah.
On timeout, and we realized, one, we needed people.
Yep.
And two, how hard it was to be home, not engaging, because we never thought about, I don't need people, because people are always around.
Always there, yeah. They were
now
accessible.
all of a sudden, when you get kids talking about I miss school, after they were hating school,
yeah,
all of a sudden, what it turned into, we realized that. And maybe we'll look at mental health a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Because like you said, men a lot of times will go, you see a brother be like, yo, man, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because he ain't okay because he looked crazy.
Right.
He looked like he's going through some stuff.
Right, exactly.
And in the past, we'd just be like, come on.
Yeah.
Man up.
And think about how many times people ask, how are you doing? And they don't really care. It becomes like just a cliche, like, hey, how are you? And you kind of keep walking. You don't even wait for the response.
There's a lady that I deal with. Shout out to Stephanie Becker. Steph Beck. She runs a nonprofit called Better Together.
Okay.
And she says, that's a loaded question. How you doing? She says, because what happens is, if you ask a parent, and that's an organization that deal with kids with severe illnesses that aren't the traditional ones.
I gotcha. Okay.
She says, you're asking a parent of a sick kid. She said, if I told you, you'd run down the street with your hair on fire.
Yeah.
Because that's a loaded question. A lot of times when I ask you, I really don't want to, how you doing? I'm good. And keep it moving.
And keep it moving.
Because the last thing is, my stuff is weak and shady. That's the last thing I need to be piling on. And next thing you know, I'm in trouble too.
Yeah.
Because like you said, how you doing? And keep it moving. We really don't. And so sometimes people don't even share.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm doing okay. Yeah, you're not.
And then also the person like you comes along, and for whatever reason, they feel like they can tell you.
Yeah.
People tell you a bunch of stuff, don't they?
They do.
In the store.
Yeah.
My wife is one of them. She would just start talking about real stuff.
Yeah.
Not no foolishness.
Yeah. Well, it was just like I got in the car, I rode the Uber over here, and I got in the car, and this was one time I was just like, hey, how are you? And he kind of like unloaded. And I was like, okay, and my natural instinct is to listen and then to provide some kind of encouragement. I don't want to leave any encounter without saying, like planting a seed, like I said. So trying to plant a seed and encourage them. But they naturally do.
So Epic Health Partners, how can people find you guys one last time?
Yep. So www.epichealthpartners.com. They can stop by our location at 10 East Lee Street in the Jackson Ward area, not too far from Mama J's. Or they can also give us a call, 804-914-1392.
And you said when people show up, they're going to get help.
Yep. Show up for help. We're going to help you one way or the other.
4 years old on up.
Yep.
There you go. On the mic with Mike. We'd like to thank our friends over at Poplar Springs. They always, as I say, they always know some cool people. Congratulations with all the things you guys are doing. On the mic with Mike, we are the best business radio program around. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks now.